what affects my premium? This is something that most people don't understand as to why, when you look at our quote sheets, some of your units might have astronomically higher premiums than the rest of your farm. Part of it is if you had multiple bad years, let's say you'd seeded a lot of recrop just in one spot during the drought years and you kind of quit, so your yield's never been built back up. That would be one way that your premium would increase. A big gap between your rate yield and your approved yields, that's how that happens. It's the bad years that are plugged in there. And then high risk lands. So our county is broke out into map areas in Toole County. So if you're in area 1, that's kind of the poorest rated farm ground in the county. If you're in area 5, that would be the best. And of course it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all the way up through. And depending on where your land lays, that determines what kind of starting yield you would receive. If you have land that falls into this AAA or high risk area, you might pay twice the premium and have literally a fifth of the guarantee that area 5 would be. So it's really good to understand. If you have a lot of high risk land, you could actually split that out on your policy and just insure it as a cat. That would eliminate some of your big premium problems there. So here's one example as to what affects your premium, like we talked about. This is what's called a unit, which you guys are familiar with units, or a database on your crop insurance. So if you look here, this crop plan is barley. It's kind of good to understand this, even from not from a premium standpoint, but just as to what we're looking at here. So you can look at each one of these. You'll get sheets every fall that shows you all of your history on your farm. This shows this is barley. It's malting type spring barley, where it says M spring. This is unit 207, and the practice is CC, which is recrop. So if we look on this line, it shows you this unit pertains to sections 1 and 12, 37 north, 4 west. And then here's all our years of history that we actually grew recrop barley in this unit. So as you look on here, you can see in 2007, we had a 19 bushel average. The county average for this area is a 38. So the lowest in any given crop year that your yield can go is 60%. So 60% of 38 would be 23 bushels. So in other words, instead of using this 19 to figure what they're going to use for your guarantee in the crop insurance, they're going to plug a 23 in there, if that makes sense. So even if we had a 0, they would plug a 23 into your history to figure your approved yield, which is over here. So we had a couple years here anyways. You can see where there's asterisks by these, where they plugged in yields for us. 223s to replace the 219s for the 2 relatively bad years. So that created a spread between our rate yield and our approved yield. And when that happens, that actually will increase your premium a little bit on that unit because they were plugging yields in there for you. What affects the premium on this unit? This is an example of that high risk or AAA land. Once again, you look at the top, you can see this is wheat, spring type, CC, and then the map area, though, that's the big thing on this, is in AAA. So this is high risk land. We've had some poor yields in here, and so that created a issue where we actually floored this unit. So over all of your history, if we were to total that up, our yield can never get below 80% of this county average for what they use for your guarantee. So what happens at that point is they floor your unit, is what it's called. So if you look where it says yield floor, this one says 8 in it. If there's a number in this yield floor portion of this unit, that means that they floored it. And then if they floor a unit plus it's high risk land, it's very possible you could be paying $30 an acre for a $60 an acre guarantee on this one unit. So that would be a good place to avoid ever doing recrop wheat again, just because your premium is going to be astronomical really for what the guarantee is there.